What's going on, Blastovites? We've got EliGe here for week 4, a demo review where we talk about Old Vertigo, a match that they played versus MIBR at the Blast Spring Series. And we'll talk about what before it got crazy near the end of the match, just a few rounds on the T side to get a refresher from EliGe, his perspective on Old Vertigo, and then go into an actual match server with him and fly through the map and talk about new Vertigo and try to pick his brain in Theory Strike about some of the changes that are in the new map, and there are some pretty drastic ones. EliGe, it's good to see you, man. You're looking happy. You're looking healthy. Are you as happy and healthy as you look?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Not as good since I can't go to the gym from the quarantine, but everything else is doing pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good too, man. Do you have like a facility? Do you have the Team Liquid facility, or is that closed down for now?
It's closed down for now, but I'm actually not living close by anymore.
Oh, okay. Is that in undisclosed location? Are you still in Are you still in California?
No, I'm in Dallas now.
Oh, you're in
5 ping,
Dallas.
5 ping to every server.
That's the secret, guys.
Yep.
That's the secret. I always thought that back in 2013 when NIP were on a tear, that the reason they were the #1 team for so long was because they had 5 ping, because they all had fiber before everyone else did in Sweden, and that's why
True.
we went to LAN. Maybe that was why. Maybe it was.
I mean, it definitely helps a lot.
It helps, yeah. I mean, if you're like Western Canada, you're screwed. They'll pull the central server on you, which is Dallas, but you're still
Yep.
like hundreds of miles away. So that's a good move. That's a good move. So is that the secret to winning online games? Is just pretending you're on land by keeping your ping low?
Yeah, dude, I think that everybody should just come to Dallas, get 5 ping everywhere, and then we'll win every match.
Yeah, true. Esports could move to Dallas. There's already so much going on there. Esports arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few teams are out there. Do you enjoy Mexican food? Next question.
I do, but very basic Mexican food.
Chipotle.
Like yeah, I like Chipotle, but
Yeah.
I get very basic stuff, like literally just chicken and rice. So I don't even think you can consider that actual Chipotle.
Yeah, well, Mexican food is very simple ingredients. It's more so about the hot sauce than anything else. EliGe, do you like hot sauce?
I do.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I was scared. I was worried for a second because yeah, I like it, but there's this thing about it that I just can't get around. At least you like
Yeah.
the hot sauce. That's good. Cayenne, habanero, or jalapeno. Go.
Cayenne.
Cayenne, baby. That's right. Avocado toast with a little cayenne, a little rock salt. That's all you need. Okay, EliGe. Let's go ahead and take a look at this match. Do you remember anything about it? It was this map versus MIBR on Vertigo from the Spring Series.
Honestly, I don't remember like too much about it off the top of my head, just because we've had like a couple of Vertigo matches recently, and those always like overtake my most recent memory from it.
Well, to basically set the scene for you, it was looking grim for a second, and then you guys had tried a few of the B takes, and they didn't work out because B kept getting retaken, and then you went back to a lot of A takes once again. Can you talk a little bit about what Vertigo was like before the changes and how you thought about the map kind of coming into Blast Spring Series?
Yeah, well, I think that one of our biggest weaknesses on Vertigo was that we really only went A, which just lets teams go stack A. But it's like a double-edged sword because like you want to go towards B sometimes just so like they can't just keep stacking A, but going A is just so much easier. And if you can take B, it's really easy to take B on Vertigo, I think. But holding it in the after plant, I think, is almost impossible if they have like the right utility. So then during this match, I guess like we went B like a couple times, and then like they won in the after plants because it's really hard to hold. And then
Mm-hmm.
we're just like, yeah, let's just go back to A since that is just easy.
So then what was it in practice that you guys tried going B? Can you explain to people why it's so hard to hold B in the post plant? Why that like plan fell through? Because Astralis tried the exact same thing and went back to A as well.
Yeah, well, you use like a lot of your nades to actually take B, and you gotta like clear out all those spots. But as long as like the CTs like have like enough mollies for the after plant, like if you go B in the beginning of the round, then the CTs are still gonna have all of their utility to retake it, since they're gonna have like, let's just say that they're starting 3A and they're putting a lot of pressure on A ramp. unless you have multiple people at A ramp, then you can't contest that at all, and they know you're not contesting it. So then they're probably gonna go B, and then you have like all of your nades for the B retake already. So you see like in this right here, like they already know that it's gonna be B, and they're gonna have all of their nades for it. So it's gonna be really tough for us to hold the after plant. They're gonna just smoke off the choke point, and unless that we can just get a miracle like spam through the smoke, which we try to have the best plant that we can, so we can spam through the smoke. But it's just not always that easy. If I mean if they don't have their utility, it's really easy to hold the after plant. But assuming that it's a full gun round versus full gun round and everyone has what they should, it's gonna be really hard to hold.
Like with an op and they don't molly out spots, you can like Stewie here, multi-kill, peek him.
Or a Krieg.
Or a Krieg, yeah. So is the Krieg nerf that came in, like it's nerfed, it's kind of just back to
it's dead.
It's dead.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah.
We'd hold a funeral for the Krieg. But I heard that who did I talk to just yesterday? I just talked to Gratisfaction yesterday, and he said it's still good for holding on to angles because the first bullet accuracy is still good. You're getting different results.
Let's see him put his money where his mouth is, dude. He's not gonna be buying it. Like, dude, anyone that is like suggesting that it's still good because of the first bullet accuracy in the scope, you are not going to sacrifice being able to shoot multiple bullets for a slightly better accuracy. I mean, not slightly, but it's not that big of a deal. If you want to be able to tap, just buy the AK and then you can spray if you whiff. If you have the Krieg and then you start whiffing or you don't hit that first shot, why would you even want that? Like, why would you want a gun like where you have to hit the first 2 shots? You can do the same thing with an AK. It is not that inaccurate.
Okay, thought experiment for you, EliGe. If you were to give a price, the accurate price to the Krieg before and the Krieg now, what would you give it as a price? Because to imply that it's dead would say that it's not worth the $3,000 that it goes for now.
Well, before, I actually thought that they should have attempted just changing the price to something a little higher. I think they should have either put it to 3,300, 3,350, 3,400. They should have just experimented with raising the price a little bit because, I mean, it was definitely way better than the AK, but it wasn't that much better. It's not at like an op type level.
Okay.
So I think that they should have changed it to something like that and saw what the percentage change of how many people are going to be buying as opposed to the AK, and you won't be able to buy it on those second rounds anymore. So I think they should have done that instead of just completely killing it. And now I probably would put it to like 2K 2100.
2K 2100. That is dead. I mean, that is completely
If you want me to buy it, it'd have to be around there, yeah.
It has to be on a fire sale for EliGe to pick up the Krieg today. So what gun? So would you almost literally pick up a Galil over the Krieg then if you saw one on the ground? That's what we're in right now. I mean, 2100 does put it a bit above.
It depends what map I'm on. I guess if I'm on Overpass, I might pick it up. But if we're on any other map, I'd probably just use the Galil, yeah.
Oh my God, it's that bad. That's the spiciest
it's terrible,
thing I've
dude.
heard on it. Yeah, it's
absolutely terrible.
You can't rely on it, huh? That's
nope.
Yeah, that's pretty damning. Okay, Nathan, is the video stream for us? Sorry, are you seeing the stream? Is it the quality off? EliGe, do you see that?
Yeah, it's a little bit pixely for me, but it might be fine for the stream.
Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I will maybe actually look at that. Okay, so on this map, so now it's like no secret that you guys want to go to A site more than B once you switch up. What's the mind game about making it seem like you're still gonna try to test B? Like, how do you do that?
It's just putting pressure on it in the beginning. Like, maybe you have like 2 guys there, you put a smoke at A so they can't see exactly how many are there, and then you have one guy putting pressure underneath the stairs while the other guy's like throwing flashes for him so he can contest anybody that's going to the stairs. And then after that, you just go dead silent and then just go back towards A, everybody. And then it doesn't even matter. They can have 3 or 4 there. As long as you can take that ramp control back, then you're fine. But it gets difficult when you try going back to A and they already have an op set up that lane. But I think that everybody now knows how to deal with that. But like a couple months ago, it definitely was tougher.
So again, we're gonna later after this, we're gonna go talk about new Vertigo and try to compare it to old Vertigo. And here on old Vertigo, I feel like one of the primary concerns, maybe at Valve, if they were talking about this, was why aren't the Ts using mid as much? Would you say that mid was underused as a T? Did you not see as much value in taking it? What was the reason that there were so many direct site takes and not as much mid usage?
There was really no reason to ever go mid because splitting CT or splitting lobby to A was borderline impossible, especially when they added that, like, we call it like a Z connector at Heaven at A. It's basically impossible to go A. And the reason why it's impossible to split A is because you need to be able to take ramp control. And unless you have 3 guys there, I think that it's impossible. If they're already set up with an op, then it's impossible to take A back, in my opinion, just because of like the utility usage that you need to be able to do. So you won't have ramp if you are majority splitting through mid. So you're putting 3 guys towards mid. That means you're not going to have ramp, and you'll be able to get into this lobby area where Fallen is right now. You'll be able to get there, but then you'll just die because they can be in literally any position they want to. They can be in Heaven, they can be in Z, they can be peeking you default, which is an advantageous angle for the CTs. So it wasn't good to split A whatsoever. And then splitting B, going through CT is absolutely impossible too because there's just too many angles. They can kill you from literally any direction. So nobody's going to be going to CT. And then going through window, that's just the same as going through B, right? Like it's exactly the same as going through B. It's like I would compare to on Nuke. There's a strat where people are like getting people down secret and then they're going through door, getting down vent. But that's the exact same as just going for secret. Like you're going through different routes to get to the same exact spot. So you're giving yourself more potential to die going through mid. Maybe you get opt close and then he falls back, and then you're gonna go through window anyway, which you could have just went through B main.
So
So there was no reason to go mid ever,
it's
except
like
for a lurk.
it sounds like it's an inherent flaw in the map design to not
Yeah.
incentivize mid. You already can't plan it mid, so there has to be some kind of extraneous value that would make you want to split up your forces when you don't need to. So I mean, we'll talk about new Vertigo in a second. I want to put a number on old Vertigo. I'm hearing a lot of vitriol from you about this map in its previous iteration. Out of 10, where do we rate old Vertigo, EliGe?
I would probably put it at like a 4 or 5.
A 4 or 5 for a map that you were playing. My next question, EliGe, is why were you guys picking Vertigo?
Because you can just go A, dude. Because other people are just worse at just going A. It's actually just so easy. You just go A, and then that's it. Like you need to get 12 rounds just going A, and we're just better than other people at just going A.
Oh my god. Until Grand Slam winner reports that on Vertigo, all you have to do is go A. It's so simple,
Yep.
EliGe. How come everybody wasn't winning all of the rounds on T side then?
I think I mean, maybe they were trying to get too fancy and they tried to go B, which was like our mistake as well. Like if you try to go B, I mean, sometimes it's good. Like if the other team like doesn't have enough money and they try to go B, then they won't have a good retake. But if you're full buy versus full buy, just go A. Don't make it too complicated. But like if you don't have a perfect execute or like you mess up the after plant, like staying lane too long, like where yellow is, that lane area on the left. I think those are like hard after plants, and you can give up some free kills. But that's basically it, yeah.
And then there was this op duel that kept happening on the A ramp to fight for control of it. Can you describe kind of like Stewie's job out of spawn to be like, I'm going to go and try to kill Fallen every single round? How do you support him and like how does he know where to get the kill? So it seems to be this A ramp to sandbags battle or something like that.
From him on the T side perspective?
Yeah.
Well, it's really tough because before we kind of had like a plan on like how to do it. Like right now, I don't think that we really had that good of a fight for A. So he would really just be trying to get picks over the smoke, like because there's always going to be a gap up top. So like either we're going to be like boosting him in the back and him trying to get like an op pick towards Fallen. But if he doesn't get that pick, then it gets really tough. I don't think that we had like the optimal flashes at this point in time to be able to contest that, and that's probably why like we got like forced more towards B. because we felt like we couldn't contest him at A. Like we didn't have like good enough like nades, and at that point we felt kind of lost. But now I think that we are a lot more comfortable like having those op duels and pushing them back with better flashes.
Dude, something I'm so curious about was when we came out of the player break and everybody was winning 90% of their scrims, which was, that didn't seem possible to any of us on the desk. But it seemed like most people were having good boot camps somehow or another. Who are the teams that you guys were playing against that everybody was winning?
In the like before the major or right
no,
now?
but in right before after December, like in between like Blast Ball Rain, which I think was your last event. You didn't go to Epicenter, right? And
Yeah.
then like Blast Spring Series in London. Who are you winning Vertigo against to bring it into your pool or play it again in London that you felt so confident about it?
Honestly, I don't remember like exactly like who we were playing. It might have just been like everybody, but like we can't really like play against like Astralis sometimes because like the two best teams like usually aren't gonna be scrimming against each other because we're just like really close and stuff like that. But I think we were playing like some like more NA teams or like Mouse, Vitality, Heroic. I don't remember if we were winning every match, but like sometimes it's just really comfortable in scrims. Like when something just is like working all the time, then you just want to pick a map because it's the most comfortable. I don't know. It really just depends sometimes.
Okay, so you were playing it against like some other tier 1 teams to get to
Yeah.
that. Okay, so you just kind of avoiding maybe Astralis because that was like a specific veto choice versus them.
Yeah. It's well, like we're never gonna be picking a map just because like we beat like tier 2 or tier 3 teams on it. Like we can tell like in those games, usually scrimming against bad teams, they usually just end up killing themselves against us, so we don't really learn too much. Like they start just like dying in front of us. So it gets really hard to learn stuff when
Yeah.
they're doing that. So we really do have to play against good teams for them to not just die instantly like in the first 30 seconds. So we definitely are playing better teams, trust me.
The Banelings of Counter-Strike tier 2
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how I'd like describe it too. They're fucking banelings.
I thought I'd squeeze in a StarCraft reference for you, EliGe. I thought I'd squeeze in a StarCraft reference. Multi-video game champion, EliGe. I know you don't like to get called a professional Counter or StarCraft player, but you were good as hell, dude. Took a map off select. That's more
Thanks.
than most people will ever do. And
I
then
should have 2-0'd him.
you should have. Yeah, I remember actually you talking about that specifically. You were like kind of upset even as like a Counter-Strike pro. You're
Yeah.
like, still remember that day. It was like
Yeah.
you're in Vietnam almost. So and then also you went on to play on the Team Liquid Overwatch team and also took your Team Liquid Valorant team to beat down the Apex Legends roster in a 2-0. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, you guys creamed it. Okay, dude, wait, is this the last round? Yeah, it's spoiler. KNG does not win this. Are we into another? Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's go into game now. Okay, we're gonna switch gears here, folks, and make sure you guys have questions. We're gonna take them all in the Discord afterwards. So right now, we're gonna switch into the game server. EliGe and I and our producer Nathan are in the server, and we're going to look over New Vertigo and talk about New Vertigo and all of its changes, all of its good and bad. And I would love to know, EliGe, generally, how do you feel about the map now? What is some stuff that you're thinking about? Do you have a generally positive outlook on the map before we even talk about specifics? Where's your head at on New Vertigo?
I really like New Vertigo, just like the eye test. Also, can you bring me back to life? Just restart game.
Oh yeah, sure, I'll do that.
But I do really like New Vertigo. It does feel just immediately when I opened up the game and went into it, I just felt way better on it. I felt like they opened up B site way more. There's actually a reason to want to split B now. Like I feel like there's more options. So just the immediate eye test, I think it is way better.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. All right. I'm watching you right now in spectate. My first thought was mid is now more primed for the taking, but at the same time, how are you holding this down as a CT? Because this heaven area from mid to B seems like one of the only angles that you even get. So it's a great angle, but it's one of very few.
Yeah, well, I think that you have a couple different options. Like, you can still do like the standard op thing, like where you just have like your opper like posted here, you get a pick, you fall back. You could be boosted on Brown still. This is still a spot you can hide in. Oh, I mean, you could do the standard setup that people were doing before, where like the opera's posted here, one's on the right here, so catch them off guard. But there are going to be ways to push those people back, which we've already like thought of some different ways that we could be doing that. And I think that they very intentionally made this smaller, this area here. If you remember, it went out a little bit more, like out a little bit more back.
Yeah.
So they changed that, and I think that like will allow for doing like some type of smokes. Like you can retake it, they throw a molly here, because when you're at heaven, you can actually see if somebody's on this back wall. If someone is here, then you can see them. So I'm sure that you could find some type of like mid retake. But I think the biggest battle of this map now is because they just opened up being able to mid B is still putting A pressure to not just let them like let the CTs have all the room that they want in the world to just post up and then stack everywhere else on the map, and then also being able to like go mid and then going back to A. I think it's going to be really hard because, like I said before, I don't think it's changed too much in terms of splitting A. If you want to go A later, I still think that you need to like deny all of this pressure here. But if you put a lot of pressure towards A ramp and you don't have enough people, then they can just sniff that out and just figure out that you're not actually going there and that you're actually going mid, and then they have that A ramp control. So it's still going to be like that same type of duel.
So to reiterate that, it's kind of like you're going to have, it's like the map is split into two types of teams now, like teams that didn't want anything to do with A, they can now try B and make it more viable. And then teams that want to go back to A, they still have that and they can do that without mid control.
Yeah, well, I still think that the just go A strat is going to win like 10 rounds out of 15 probably. But if you're playing against a team that keeps playing 3A, then you can think of like some type of way that you can exploit mid on them and go mid to B, because I think that holding this split is also really tough, because if you think about it from a CT, there's not really many options that you can play. Like you can play here. I mean, you can play. I mean, playing here is just not that good from what I've seen. You can still like play here and like play off the flashes like people have always done. But it seems like the only like real spot is like playing here or here still, or here. Like you don't really have that many options. You have like 3 options. Everything else will be like smoked out if they end up going B.
I want to take a look at this. I want to take like a theoretical round here from Matiz. Let's say that, okay, let's say you're a CT on the B site and you lose that heaven control. Now you're completely separated. You can't really rotate through CT spawn. How are you holding the B site now?
You don't. You die.
You're dead, right? Yeah, there's like, it seems like the site, there's all these angles get compromised completely without this heaven control. So it feels like, I mean, so then there's even value though if you're going to try to take the A site, if you can take mid easily, right? If you can take mid easily without sacrificing or risking too much, then you cut off rotations from B and you can kind of tackle A the same way you would in the past. Is that something that you think about?
Well, like I said before, I think it's going to be really tough to go A. Still, like if you take mid majority, I think it will still be tough to go A unless you can think of like some really optimal way to nade pressure towards A and not let them like take the fork room control or like just post up an opper at yellow. So you have to some way think of some like nade combo, nade usage to make them not want to do that. Because like I said, like if you don't have the ramp control and you try splitting, like they can kill you here, they can kill you here.
Even just to say that you don't split through mid, but you take mid control and then go back to a full A, you're scaring the rotations from the B site because they can't cross past heaven now into CT spawn.
I mean, you can't just like sit on heaven. Like they'll still be able to rotate if they want, and like you're always gonna have like info. Like if they can split through this heaven position. So if you take mid, like there's gonna be like a lull period of like 30 seconds or something like that. So if let's just say that you had like you took mid control with 3 guys, there's one outside of B and then there's one A, right? And T's putting like A pressure and everything like that. And then obviously he has to go passive because he doesn't want to die because his team is taking mid. So he needs to just chill while his team takes mid. Okay, they have mid control now. The CTs, they have to contest it and respect that there's majority mid right now. But they know that. And the CTs, they know that the majority is mid. So that means that the sides are weak. That means A and B are both weak right now. So if they aren't already, they should be doing some type of refight A where they can see or they can contest if this one guy is trying to take a fight that he shouldn't be.
Mm.
Or if they did fight in the beginning of the round and they know that they're not there already, then he's already like posted up with an op here, or he's like they're in some type of like aggressive position where if the one A guy does try to go up, then he's gonna die. But as soon as they sniff out that there's 3 mid, then these guys can take like way better positions afterwards. And if you don't like just put like a bunch of utility back, then those guys are gonna die. Like these A guys are gonna die when they come back. Or like they take 3 mid and then they're walking back, and this takes a while to walk back. Like you need to walk this whole way. So this probably takes about like 15, 16, 17 seconds. And then you get all the way back here, you get all the way back here. You're still walking, and then you have to flash these guys off. Like you have to like throw like your flashes back to like flash off the yellow guy, and you want to like flash off any of these guys peeking here. So as soon as you do that, the CTs are going to know that you're back to majority being here, because you need to use a lot of your utility. You have to put that presence back to just not die. Like that's like the difficulty of this map, is just getting up this ramp. You need to do so much just in order to not die, and then you have to have enough where you can have a good enough like execute later. So it's really tough.
And so then, where are you thinking? Like, are you implying that the CT side is somehow getting easier, or is it just changed?
No, I just think that the T just got one more option. I think they just got like one more better option. I just think that it's hard for like map depth wise. Like I think that the depth of the map just like isn't very high still, because you can't do like multi-level fakes. You can't like put pressure A while taking mid and then like also go back to A. Like you can't like take mid and then go A, and then the CTs don't just know what you're doing.
What do you think the implication is of that connector in the spawn now? Do you think it's misplaced in that sense? Like there's one in the lower floor underneath where you can now rotate through a hallway. Yeah, they made this so that you could go a little bit more quickly. And I wondered about this area in general. Is also wanted to talk to you about. Is this now that you can't go through? And there used to be a connector where you're facing to wrap around through spawn. Since that's gone, I was wondering, is this a place that T's are going to play? And also, what do you think about this new hallway that they added? Will that affect anything?
Yeah, I actually do think that this was like a good change for like the T perspective, where you're able to not take too long like rotating from like B. Kinda. I don't know. I didn't actually do like how long it takes. It's probably really similar like amount of like seconds it takes to like rotate from like B to A, because I mean it may be like shaved off 2 or 3 or 4 seconds.
Okay.
But the main thing about it actually is that the CTs can contest B so much easier now, because it was really risky before, because there was 2 different entrances that you had to worry about. So like there could be like somewhere like back here like holding the stairs. I mean, sometimes they wouldn't be able to like see like with the smoke there. Like if the CTs put a smoke here, so the CTs have the best spawn. So the CTs, they have the op. They see that no one peeked instantly, assuming that the Ts didn't throw any flashes, right? So they didn't throw any flashes. The CTs know that there's no one there, or they had a smoke here. If somebody tries walking down here like before,
Twist.
Yeah, like if you try walking down here, there's not really that many options that you have to sit in, right? Like if you molly, like that's all mollied, you can't be there. If you sit here, then that means that this guy can see you and just kill you. And then your only real option is playing here.
Yeah, and
but
now
you don't have to worry about 2 different options. And I think that it will be viable to put a smoke here and be able to take this B main control. Possibly.
So let's say Doomsday situation. It's a split onto B. You're a CT kind of in this area watching down the ramp. Are you trying to push now into that room, wait and wait there, see if there's a split? If not, try to retake from these stairs now? Is that where we're ending up?
I think that there will be like, if you don't see like any pressure at B, because I think that, like I said before, like I think the Ts will either need to be in the beginning of the round still putting a lot of pressure towards A, or they're going to be wanting to put like a lot of pressure towards mid. Like it really does feel a little bit like rock paper scissors, where if the CTs like put 3 towards A and the Ts put 3 towards A, then it's just going to be like an equal duel. But if the Ts put like 3 towards mid and you put 3 towards A, then I think that's like an advantage to the CTs. imagining that the T's are going slow. Like it's all just like rock paper scissors because the map is so like big to rotate in like throughout the sides, and you have to go really slow. So you just have to like guess really where you want to be putting all of your pressure towards, and just having like a good retake on the other side of the map.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about just now that you've been discussing with your team about any of these changes? There's obviously a lot going on.
Not really. I think it's still. I think it's just mainly the things that I said. I still think that like just going A is just gonna be good, but now you have like the potential for like a stronger like B split or B execute. But to me, I think A splitting is still impossible. Not impossible, but I don't think you're gonna
Not
see any.
wise.
I don't think you're gonna see any team doing it. And any team that I have seen doing it, like I remember like EG in their match against us on Vertigo, when this window was still here, they tried like A splitting against us, and then like they just like have this strat where like they had like 2 guys walking here, but there's just so much that can go wrong when you're doing this. And then in one of those rounds, like I asked for a boost from Russ because I was 2 at B this round, and then I just like killed 2 guys here, and then they just ended up losing. So it's just so many ways that can go wrong if you're trying to split through A.
So in general, a step in the right direction. At the beginning of this, you
Yep.
said you prefer the B site changes. Do you like this new wall on A a little bit harder to wall bang?
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's pretty wall bangable. Like I've already gotten like 2 spam kills or so through it. So I still think it's possible to get spams through it, but I think it's a better change because T after plants, just like spamming through this wall was really hard to deal with. And like me, whenever I'm on T and I was in the after plant, I would get like kills through that like all the time. So I think it's a good change. I still think that this whole area needs a whole redesign. Like just do the same redesign concept that you did for B and do it for A.
Let me run this by you. So you're sitting on the ramp coming up onto the site. This angle that you're clearing is just above that back box where somebody could be popped up with an op or sitting there. And this is the duel. There's so much pressure on this one angle. To you, is this what? And this is from what I've seen from all of the pro matches. A lot of just emphasis on this one fight. Is this where some of the problem lies? Is this ramp fight a bit too one-dimensional? Where do you? All the Valve devs are watching right now, EliGe. What are you telling them about this A ramp?
Which fight exactly? Like fighting like up here, or
is this the whole problem? Like after, is it this part of the fight where you're trying to take control of A ramp, or is it once you're starting to peek into the site that's the real annoying part, or the part that's a bit stale? Or what's the real issue about this A site take, and where can they start to get things changed?
I think it's mainly like this ramp. I don't really like the site either, but like I don't know. I really don't like either part of it because I think that you need to use so much utility as a T to be able to get this control, like just to even not die. Like I said before, like you just need to do so much to first off not die, and then as soon as you get this ramp control, I think that it becomes really good for the Ts. I don't really think that there's any good setup that I've seen or that I played against at all that can hold a fight. Like you can't play here at all. Like you can't play here at all too. Like Astralis had like the smoke here where they played at default, but I mean it's actually a better angle for the Ts, and I think that's probably why they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, and you're relying on these 15-second smokes for these specific setups.
Yeah, like I think that if the CTs don't fight, then they have to play retake, and if you play retake, then it's a really hard after plant. So you end up having to fight, and it's just like 50-50 fights, really. Or I think the Ts end up winning that fight. Like just if they go slow, if both teams like try to fight A ramp, I think the T will win, probably like 7 out of 10 times, or like 7-8 out of 10 times. So I don't know. I think that they should just like redesign like going underneath like this. So there's just more of so it's not so vertical, I guess.
Horizontal go, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, change it up. Okay, yeah, I tried with that one. That was a failed joke. Okay, EliGe, none of the Valve devs are watching anymore. Everybody has left the stream. What do you rate New Vertigo out of 10?
I would probably put it to like a 6 or 6.5.
6.5 from 4. That's huge. That's a huge markup. That's a marked improvement. And I feel like, no, let me put words in your mouth, but the B site changes were kind of unexpected, right? The way that they reworked it, the mid to B setup, a lot of the stuff is kind of fresh. It's feeling like how they completely changed Overpass by the time, like compared to the overpass we saw in the beginning to the overpass we see now. 2 different
Yep.
maps, and it feels like we're moving in the right direction. We welcome it. Keep trying new stuff. You're doing great. EliGe, great. Gamma Doppler. Did they fix your crosshair?
They did. You could see it if you had my crosshair thing on. But yeah, everything's back to normal. Everyone can relax. So
Nice.
I'm happy.
Yeah. So it's got, what was wrong with it before? It was like the outline was, you used a 0.5 outline, and
Yeah.
and what happens? Did it get displaced?
The 0.5 outline just got like removed basically. You could only either have 0 or 1.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's just like really hard for me to see like the 0 outline. Like I like having an outline, but 1 is just really disgusting looking. Like I think it's just so ugly. So
Okay,
I really
well,
wanted the
bit of a
0.5.
personal attack there by EliGe, but I'm okay with it. I switch on and off. I'm never happy, honestly. So I think if you have used the same crosshair since forever, yeah. So that speaks volumes. Loyal to the crosshair. Okay, EliGe, let's turn it to the chat before we wrap up. I think we've got some pretty interesting questions here. Question 1 here from Charlie. Can you ask EliGe what he thinks about orgs forming 6-man rosters? EliGe, who's the 6-man to Liquid in the near future?
Nobody, because I think that would be a really bad investment. I think it's really obvious from Valve that they are not interested in CS being a 6-man game ever. From like every conversation I've ever heard from them, from anything I've ever talked to them, they're not. They want it to be a 5v5 game, and I don't see why you would want to, go against Valve, because they discreetly put like, or not discreetly, but like very obviously, explicitly put their rules in for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a bad decision from that perspective, and I also think that like as an org, I don't think that you'd find any good enough player for like the salary that they would be demanding. Like if you want a player that's like on our team's caliber, like you'd have to be spending that amount of salary for them to not be on another team. And I don't think that a player like at that caliber would want to not play that much. Like where they could just go to like another team that's like at a similar caliber and be playing all the time and be getting their name out there. Because as you're not playing, like just from a player's perspective, I think that like as you're not playing, the value of like how much you are worth as the player goes down as more people like forget about you, don't see you play, don't know how good you are. So I think as a player, I don't think it's like a good choice because you're not going to be getting like that much like limelight basically.
Yeah.
And I think that chem, like just like between the maps, is really, I don't think it's good to mess with that really, because
dude, watching you guys play
know.
Valorant actually made me think about that, because you came in as a team that like never played Valorant together, but because you were a team, it felt like you had a leg up just being skilled and then having that kind of that chem that you're talking about. That's a really good, I feel like you really put a pin in that one. There's a lot of different takes. I think that's the most unique that I've heard so far. EliGe, how did you like the London studio? Big Zach MV4 asks, and would you play there again? I'm just gonna say this right off the bat. It was one of the best studios, maybe the best studio I've ever been a part of. Like with the Blast London studio in the 3 weeks and the couple. How did you find the format in the studio, and how was it? How was your experience there as a player?
I mean, I thought it was pretty awesome. I really like going to London because it's basically like America, but a little bit more expensive, and they have Nando's.
A lot more.
So I always like going to London for that reason. The studio was really sick. I mean, it was a little warm, but other than that, no complaints.
Getting a little sweaty on the mouse pad?
Yeah.
Did you have to wash it?
Not the mouse pad, dude. I don't wash mouse pads. I think as soon as you wash a mouse pad,
it's not the same, man.
Feel the same.
It's not the same.
It's
why
not.
I've had this mouse pad for 5 years, EliGe. Never washed this bitch once.
Dude, what? I'm not even kidding. You'd probably be like, I change my mouse pad out like every 1.5 or 2 months.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the other thing though. This is a problem for me, is that you're switching to a new mouse pad is also, it's like you gotta break that in too.
Yeah, but like you get used to how it feels as a new mouse pad, and then you play better because of it. Like for me,
EliGe,
like it makes so
don't
much
be
more
talking
sense.
to me because I used the same mouse pad for 5 years, okay?
Dude, you'd probably be like 10 times better if you just got a new mouse pad.
10 times better. I'd be a freaking pro. I mean, it can't get much better, honestly, already. Okay, EliGe, can you move your mic just a couple centimeters away? I know I asked you to make it as loud as possible earlier, but now it's like gone the other
Okay, now we're good.
I think
Nice.
we're definitely good. Yes, Hoppin says shout out to Nando's. Shout out to Nando's.
Yeah.
Question 3, Ringle12 asked, after watching the Liquid versus Liquid match in Valorant, I noticed that you were the main caller in the series. Do you have a lot of input when you're playing CS? Well, great question.
Well, for Valorant, it was because no one else really played too much, and I was watching like a lot of the dev games because I think that they do have like a lot of theory already down for like how they think that you should be defaulting, taking map control, stuff like that. And I really wanted to win that show match because I'm just competitive. I like
Yeah.
just winning. So I took the reins from it since I knew nobody else was really watching or caring that much. Like Twist and Naf really only played. Naf only played like 3 games before that. So it was really fun, just like being able to do that. But for CS, I do have like some type of input. Like sometimes, like if I have like a strat that I think will work or a pick that I think is gonna work, I will say it. But Nitro and Stewie definitely call more than me. For me, I try to just like focus on like my own game because I think that like when I try to like think too much or micromanage, it does like impact my game a little bit.
Mm.
So I try to just give like beginning of the round stuff if I have it, if I have some type of read. But other than that, like I'm gonna be just like believing in like Nick's calls or Stewie's calls
Yeah.
basically.
I noticed like yeah, Stewie was calls a ton like on the roster. But yeah, that seems like a really good thing to learn about yourself that, maybe you should this is the balance you should strike, even though you are actually very great at vocalizing analysis as well as I think giving suggestions. Okay, I have another question, but I'm just gonna move it to the chat because there's still a ton here, or at least a few more. Chummy2222 asks, EliGe, do you think that Liquid has improved since 2009 to today, or 2019 to today? And what do you think the team needs to work on to be at the top? I guess this is, to talk about how, right before the second to last major, there was, you guys had just pulled off the Grand Slam. Do you feel like since then you have improved, but everyone else is also improving around you? Do you think, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, from the timeline of after the second major of last year, I think that we have definitely regressed. I think that we did get worse, and other teams did get better, so that like caused like the huge drop off. I mean, we didn't like regress that much. That's why like we still got out of groups and stuff like that. We're not like really bad, but um,
Oh, you guys are nuts. You
but
guys are
right
definitely still
now,
nuts.
I think that we have gotten better. Like from right now, like from beginning of 2020 to right now, I think that we have improved. But if we're talking about from the Grand Slam to now, we have definitely gotten worse because I think that we were at like such a high level where we were just like playing off of like the game so much. And I think right now we're playing a little bit more not to lose or trying to play like a little bit too perfect. Not like too perfect, but like too like by the book. Where
Mm.
before, like if I had like a feeling or if like Stewie had a feeling, then we would just like go for those feelings. Where right now, like we don't have like we don't have like a lot of confidence in our play,
Mm.
where we can like make those like snap decisions or snap risk. And I think that type of confidence comes from knowing that what you're doing is correct. Where if you have any type of uncertainty at all, then you're not going to be going for those extra risks because like you aren't positive in them and you don't want to like lose the round for your team. But like when everyone's like firing off all cylinders and like we're in like the groove of that Grand Slam win, then we're gonna do like those little extra plays, like those little extra risks that are gonna pay off because we just have so much confidence in them that they're gonna work because we know that they're right.
Dude, that is so interesting. That mirrors exactly what Azza said about like his team right now. That it's a big. He views CS at this point as a big confidence game, and he feels like when 100 Thieves are playing in their best form, it's when everybody feels like they know they can make decisions and just act off those instincts. And I think that's an incredibly interesting answer. Is that something you have to unlock? Just to follow up on that, or is it? I mean, how do you get that confidence? Everyone wants to know that the answer to this
Yeah.
question.
Well, like I said, like with confidence, like you're not just gonna be confident out of nowhere. You can't just like listen to an inspirational speech and just be like, okay, yeah, everyone, let's go
Hell
in the
yeah.
locker room, like stuff like that. You're not just gonna like just start like making plays that you wouldn't have like a day before. That comes from fundamentals that you've learned over time, plays that you've discussed with your team, theory that you know is gonna work. Like if you know like Amaraj for example, like how a certain player likes to play or how operators in general like to play on A site, and you're like the connector looker, and you know that you can go through stairs, like through the connector top stairs smoke, and get that pick like 7 out of 10 times out of 10, like playing the odds, like playing the risks, like you know that something is going to work. Like that just comes from doing your homework or playing against these players like enough to know like what's gonna work against them, like you're only gonna be wanting to take risks if you know that there's a high percentage that they're gonna work. You're not just gonna like think of risk by yourself, just playing Valorant or whatever. Like you need to like
Mm.
be thinking about like CSGO and like what type of play is gonna work for that game in that situation. It's all very specific.
I love that you can, like, make that a more tangible you can make tangible out of intangible there with describing confidence and what that means, and I think that that risk analysis, that makes so much sense that you're, if you're not feeling confident, you'll push that smoke, even though you
Yep.
might know in the back of your head you could. When you're confident, you just do it without hesitation. You catch
Yep.
someone off a timing, and that's CS:GO timing in a
Yep.
nutshell. That's really cool. That's a great answer. EliGe, a question from Joseph 2O. Which map do you want removed from the pool?
This is I mean, it's obviously gonna be biased, but I think train should be removed.
Whoa!
Not
Oh my god, he said train.
I mean, that's been our permaban for, like, a long time, and I definitely think that's because of me a little bit. I really don't like the map. I think that just I think the map layout is just very boring. We've seen the same, like, train smoke wall execute going down the ladder with 2 guys, like, it's, like, really boring stuff that you see every single game. There's not much depth to the map, in my opinion. I think we've already like, it's already run its course. I think that, like, Mirage and Train, they've run their course for amount of strategies that are ever going to be interesting,
Hmm.
and we need to see new stuff.
Well, I'm not trying to lose any fans like you are here, but I'm not gonna call out any other maps. I'm just gonna go just nod my head politely. Okay, question here from Dada4 in Roman numerals, IV. How is the pandemic affecting practice?
I would have said, like, a couple weeks ago that I don't think it's gonna be affecting too much, but I think it has at this point where practice just hasn't been as good. I thought that because the good NA teams are still gonna be here, then things would be fine because, like, we have good teams in NA, like, we have really good teams that are playing here. But for some reason, like, NA teams are just, like they just, like, give up, not give up, okay, I'm not gonna say give up, but,
Start
like, they
just die in
start
the
getting
first 30
they
seconds. They just
start
run
getting,
at you
like,
like Bailey.
really scrimmy. They start getting, like, really scrimmy,
Mm.
doing things that they would never do in a match, and I think that has really, like, increased in the past, like, week or 2, and practice has just gotten so much worse where it's just like, okay, this team is just very clearly, like, given up or they're trolling, and it's been really frustrating to play, like, practice recently because of that.
Mm.
So I think that's been, like, the number one thing, like, where practice just hasn't been as good because I think people are trolling, like, halfway through the scrim.
Wake up, It's like, guys, 2020, the game's been out for 20 years and people are still wide swinging connector on Mirage. Let's let's get together and change this, okay?
I know,
It's
right?
time. I will say that I was casting some tier 2 CS the other day and I haven't in a while, and I will say I feel like the level on average has improved quite a bit, at least since the last time I've
Yeah,
casted. I don't know if you've watched any of it, but still, of course, to strengthen the region and to strengthen the top teams in the region, yeah, everyone has to band together. It's also in your best interest too, if you're there
yep,
for for your team to try to rise up as well.
yep.
So I guess one last question here, just from Sackle 2K. Has Liquid ever practiced train? I know you don't like it, but your opinion is that like the meta's a little bit dry. But you guys don't even play it right now. So have you? When was the last time you really ever practiced it?
We've tried, like, 2 separate times. We tried when Taco was on the team because he was on SK, and that was, like, one of, like, their best maps.
And he's
So
like,
we tried
guys,
it
I
at
like
that
team
point in
fights.
time. And, I think that, like, it just, like we just, like, weren't playing, like, that good on it, so, like, we just, like, scrapped it for then. And then we tried it again when Stewie joined because he thinks that, like, we should have been playing Train, like, Naf really wants to play, like, Train too. So
Hmm.
when we started playing it, we actually, like, practiced, like, really hard for it as soon as, like, he joined, right before I Buy Power because that was when we just got back from Odense at EPL, and we randomly picked Train against Astralis without having played it for, like, a year and a half or something
Hmm.
and we beat them on it. So we were just like, okay, we really need to do this for like our vetoes. We need to get Train back in our map pool, and we played Train for like a month prior to I Buy Power, and then we ended up just not getting Train once. Like we didn't get Train like
Hmm.
that whole tournament, and then after that, like we just like weren't getting. I don't know. We just like decided to like eventually scrap it because like we weren't like really playing that good on it, and we thought that we could just like keep playing up like the veto for it. But then like we eventually just scrapped it because like we just weren't playing like that good on it. But I don't think that we gave it like as good of a try that we could have, I guess, if like everyone was like super like studying demos and stuff. I
Okay.
can't like say that we really did that, but yeah.
Okay. Well, that seems like there's still hope. Maybe Train gets added to the pool of Team
Hopefully it
Liquid. I
gets
know you guys are
removed.
definitely good enough. EliGe, skill testing question: what's the best energy drink?
Monster.
Monster. Done. Okay, EliGe, thank you so much for this interview, and thank you guys so much for the questions. Do you have anything to shout out? Do you feel like there's a piece of social media that you use that people aren't following? Instagram? Do you like Twitter the most? What do you want to
I
shout out?
like Twitter the most, so just follow me on Twitter @EliGe. Follow Launders because he's here. Got to shout out my boy.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Okay, sweet, man. I will
Yeah.
take the clout wherever I can find it. Okay, sweet, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you guys in the chat. That's it from this demo review. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out, guys.